Hello, thank you for joining in on my 365 note writing adventure. My name is Anna Delman and I'm on day number 316 of 365. My note for today is based on a comment somebody left on one of my posts, and they mentioned that they would have liked to have had more contentment. I then responded with that I would address contentment today, and they commented further, why would I want to box everything? Why is that my need? If that was the solution to finding contentment, I would be greatly blessed, just to have a once-off understanding of it and put it in a box, and then that cover all and everything in your life and every area of struggle in which you need to find contentment. However, it's not so. Since reading those comments and considering contentment, I went back into my files and looked at all the different articles I'd read through the years, papers I'd written on contentment, research I had done, and notes of books that I had read over the years on it. And I realized gratefully, and I'm thankful to the person for the comments they left, because it made me challenge myself in a deeper way on the contentment I've said I've achieved, or the contentment I've experienced. Made me take a good hard look, and I realized how laziness in my application of what I know to be true has left me with a lot more discontent than I would like, and that is to my shame. Now, my note for today is, have you learned to be content in whatever situation you are in? And then, when you can answer that truthfully, here are some points that you need to consider in your life. A historical struggle. And my examination of my own life over the past few days has realized I do have a historical struggle. There are some things that I'm totally content with how they've worked out in life, but there are other things that I believed that umbrella of contentment covered, which somehow did not find its way under the umbrella. I need to keep learning. Once that's been exposed in my life, I need to keep learning. I need not to give in on that lack in my life, because it's been exposed that I'm not content in those areas. I must not give in. I need to cover that as well. I need to dig into that. I need to go to war. I need to go to war with myself. Now, James Smith, in 1860, he's a Puritan, and they go, if you go back to them, I think they have the best answers and the best writings on it. Down in the show notes are two books I've listed there if you need further study. The Art of Divine Contentment by Thomas Watson, written in 1655. The Rare Jewel of Christian Contentment, written by Jeremiah Burroughs in 1648. Now, I've read through those in my way back when I was still in school, and I had copies of both of them at one time. They are excellent books to pursue. However, so let's see what James Smith, I've written it on the whiteboard because it's worth discussing. I've underlined the blue for a reason. I've underlined in blue for a reason, because that challenged me deeply. It exposes our understanding and what we think we are content in over our life when we are not. So contentment needs a careful heart examination. What God is to you. To start applying contentment and understanding your need for it. What is God to you? What does He mean? What Christ has done for you. Do you understand the full depth of that? Do I understand the full depth of it? Seeing that I said that the comments caused me to take a good, long, hard look at my own life. Do I understand that as fully as I say I do? And my heart breaks, because obviously I have not kept my eye on the prize, on the goal, and that's to my shame. What eternity will be for you? Aren't the little sacrifices we give up along the way worthy of the eternity we will know? What Christ has done for me. in reading through my papers that I wrote when I was in school, Adoniram Judson's young wife Anne was 16 when she wrote a book. I believe she was or somebody wrote the book, but it was just my notes based on the book. Contemplate Christ's character, suffering to promote the glory of his Father. What Christ has done for you. Isn't that enough to grasp us, to focus on what Christ has done for us and the character of contentment he had to trust his Father so much to promote the glory of God when he went to the cross? That's what her point was. She was a kid. In today's terms, she was a kid, 16, and then back in her era, she was considered a woman. What eternity will be for you? The providence that watches over you. I'll get back to that. The design of God in trying you. The comments I read proved to be trying to me, and I believe God used that to say thank you to the person who left the comments for me to really take a good look at my life. The design of God in trying you. Those areas that I realized since reading those comments that I have allowed to escape from underneath the umbrella of contentment really say much more about me than I realized. Oh, and I didn't like that. I still don't like it. I don't like it now in this discussion. And I'm not sharing that with you in what it exposed. Because you have your areas of struggle where God is exposing that to you, and I have the same experiences, maybe a bit different, but the outflow of that in an experience lacking in contentment. So the providence that watches over you, that's my struggle right there. That is it. Because I've had, particularly in this geographical location, where I have the choice of going to another country, an Asian country, or returning to the country of my birth, when a predicament arose. In one day, life changes on a dime, and mine did in 2013. And I chose to come back here because I have the gift of a wonderful education that I believe could be shared with others, and the beauty of Christ in my life, which I'm eternally grateful for that I could share here. And then everything fell flat. It was a deep struggle for me. The providence that watches over you. Really, Lord? You brought me here and I have to deal with the nastiest people I've ever met in my life within the first 2 years I was here? Really, Lord, this is what you have for me? Oh, I must clarify, since then I've met some stinking wonderful people, some of the nicest, sweetest, caring people I've ever met, particularly during my time of my bad health, etc. I have spoken famously about the people who I met through that, and I love them dearly, and if I talk about that too much, I will start crying because of God's sweetness to me at their hands. Wow, wow, wow. In the same geographical location where I experienced the nastiest people I've ever met, I met the most wonderful, caring instruments of God's hands in my life that I could ever have wished for anywhere on the face of the earth. I must state that because I don't want people to think that everybody I've met here geographically is like that first set of people. Not at all. So, the providence that watches over you. Friends, for many years I struggled. Why, Lord? Why did you bring me back here to experience that, to know that, to see that? And then the ongoing, just ugliness that I knew from the hearts of that community. Ick, yuck. However, as I've already shared, I then wouldn't have had the sweet providence, the sweet grace of God in allowing me to see the exact opposite of that a few years later in an awesome, awesome way. That has changed my life in so many ways. That's why I'm sharing this on YouTube, because God, through all of that, gave me a gift of life again. Still not 100% recovered, still have some physical things I'm working through, but oh my goodness, it has given me the opportunity to speak to you about the joy of Christmas contentment. Friends, we have to go to war for it. We have to fight for it, because we owe the God who went to the cross, who provided his son, what he has done for us on the cross. Wow, wow, wow. You owe him, I owe him. Let's get busy living for his glory. So let's look at some scripture verses. Friends, as I've said to you before, if I can't land anything I'm saying to you on a Bible verse, then what I'm saying is a vanity, and you need not listen to me. In fact, you need not listen to anyone. To go back to a situation I've referred to before, if you go to a church and your pastor slams you from the pulpit or tries to mock and humiliate you from the pulpit for opening up the Word of God to see if what he's saying is true, get up and walk out. I should have done that the first few weeks I was here. I would have saved myself so much hardship. So let's take a look at 1 Timothy 6, verses 6 through 8. Where is verse number 6? Now there is great gain in godliness with contentment, for we brought nothing into the world, and we cannot take anything out of the world. But if we have food and clothing, with these we will be content. That is one. The next one is Philippians 4, verses 11 and through 13. Not that I am speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound in any and every circumstance. I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. What sweetness is there in that, friends? So if you're struggling with contentment and you're not quite sure what to do about it, what is God to you? What has Christ done for you? What does eternity mean to you? Do you hunger after it? Is all on this earth just nothing in comparison to what we will know then? All our needs will be sufficiently met on that day. And I look forward to it. So friends, I hope that's an encouragement to you. I will talk some more on it tomorrow as the Lord is teaching me through this season as well. And once again, thank you for the comments. If anybody would like to share their contentment journey in the comments below, I would welcome that. I can learn from others just as much as I hope you are learning from the encouragement I'm sharing with you. So until tomorrow, take care and God bless, and I will be back then for the ongoing conversation of contentment, a heart examination. Bye-bye for now.